Are you looking for valuable business advice to reach that 7-figure revenue mark? Do you want actionable tips to properly navigate through every business challenge you encounter along the way? Let Tersh Blissett and Josh Crouch be your guide in getting you to the top here at Service Business Mastery. Tune in as they sit down with world-renowned authors in business, leadership, and personal growth who share valuable insights about management, marketing, pricing, human resources, and so much more. Let their nuggets of wisdom gold guide you in owning a thriving, profitable, and ever-growing business. Here are your hosts, Tersh and Josh.
Hello, everyone out there in podcast world. Hope you're having a wonderful day. You're listening to or watching Service Business Mastery podcast. We're live here at the Service Hero 10X event in Vegas. And I have the awesome team here from SERA. If you're not familiar with SERA, you're probably living under a rock. If you're in any of the Facebook groups, you definitely have heard they're disrupting all of the technology as far as CRMs go. And I'm super excited to have these guys on the show and just have a conversation about what's in the future and what's to come. And that, with that being said, let me welcome these guys to the show. What's up, guys?
What's up?
Hey, what's happening?
Good to see you, man.
How are y'all today?
Doing pretty good.
Yeah, day 2 of this event. So kind of
day.
exhausting.
Yeah,
you know.
It's the day that you're tired.
Uh-huh.
Wow. Nonstop. It's just been crazy. So many people are coming up and they see the SERA shirt and they're like, "Oh, it's Billy." No, it's not. Sorry, I'm not Billy. So yeah, the people are really excited about getting to know what it's about.
So tell us what is SERA for those who do not know what it is.
So SERA is a new system designed to help run your fleet field service management.
Okay.
And but a little bit different than other systems, which SERA is really designed to actually work in the business. So your team can work on the business. SERA's got several patents pending that are on the way we use automated intelligent design inside the processes to reduce redundancies, to cut down on time, cut down on touch points, just so, like I say, all of your team can be focused solely on the most important thing, which is how do you drive revenue and profitability. So SERA handles a lot of the redundant backend processes, so humans don't have to touch it.
So I hear a lot in the group, a lot of people are talking about AI dispatching. Like that's what I'm hearing a lot. Like you don't have to worry about this stuff; it just figures it out for you. How does that work? Like and do we have to have 50 or 60 technicians for this to work, or can it work with a smaller team?
We can absolutely work for a smaller team, all the way up to 100 or more trucks. What it does is the inputs that we use and that we show you that you need to put in to determine the difference between good calls that are valuable, that can return a higher margin for you, versus calls that maybe you're doing those instead of the better calls. SERA can figure out that, hey, I've got a 15-year-old air conditioner here. Your dispatcher's already said we can't take any more calls, but she recognizes the fact that there's 4 or 5 tune-ups on there for a 6 or 7-year-old system. And so we're going to punt one of those tune-ups and we're going to go do that 15-year-old system. One of the things people don't like to do is make that call,
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I got to reschedule you or whatever.
The empathy, just most of your CSRs or dispatchers, they want to be empathetic. We teach them constantly, show empathy, show that you care about them. And then we've scheduled it. We finally nailed it down. That's a challenge in itself of getting someone scheduled for their maintenance. Like, look, you paid for this thing 6 months ago or a year ago. Let's get it scheduled.
Yeah.
And then you get them on the schedule, and then we're like, oh crap, we're gonna boot you off. And then so yeah, I could totally see that on the CSR side of things. Now they are having to do it. The CSRs having to call the homeowner, I'm guessing.
Well, we can notify the customer if there's a delay or whatever, but that's when we need to make the phone call, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We don't take away all the work.
Okay.
We leave. We don't do that.
Like, man, that's what I'm talking about.
We just take away the time wasting redundant stuff.
Yeah.
And we just do some thought logic, about how these businesses run every day.
Mhm.
And we built that in there, and we've been seeing a lot of results. Now, one thing about it, it's a one-dimensional question that everybody's talking about.
Yeah.
Is the dispatcher, but it doesn't work unless the tech app works along with it.
Okay, so
right?
explain what you mean there.
So we have three phases of our software. We have the admin tech app, and then we have the marketing and all that stuff. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we do is, to make this technology work, we need to know what the tech's doing at all time. And we have to get the text to run in a certain way through the tech app, and everybody be consistent. One of the things that
wait a minute. So the techs are going to do what they're supposed to do?
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to do what they're supposed to
do. I mean, we've all had the little challenge here and there of like not getting forms completed, and you take pictures of the data plates, and
right. So think about it like this: do you really need a form if you run through a call the right way and get the information as you
do? as long as so here's the challenge that I faced, and so I created some forms, and I'm really proud of my forms, but I'm also a nerd when it comes to Excel, so like we'll put that out there to start with. But like I was having questions from homeowners about the call, and the invoice or the ticket that gets emailed to them, it was very generic. So it was very much like a arrived on site, found a bad capacitor, changed capacitor, goodbye. That's how it was, like the invoice was worded and everything else. So I'm like, man, I don't know what your pressures. I ain't got a clue what your pressures are. Like I can't, no deductive reasoning at all on my end. So it's very much like, crap, I don't know. So I have to call the guy, and hopefully he remembers. So then I created a form of the processes, like, order of operation. And so start filling this form out. And if somebody calls me, then I can hopefully find
right. So you get your old checkup form, right? You've got all your checkpoints, right? So I love that data, put it together, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what's nice about the process that Billy's talking about, what really like turned me on, and I thought was just so cool, is that the flow through on the tech app brings you straight through. There's nothing preventing you from doing that and then just snapping the picture of that form. In fact, if I was running a business, I would do it exactly that way. I would actually say, and I know Billy likes less touches, less intervention, like super simplified. I'm saying if you need that information to run your business, there's nothing preventing you from taking that picture and having it on every single call and having that as a part of your process on every call, which again, I would definitely recommend.
I do love the less is more mentality, because it whenever we're onboarding new people, it's a lot easier to onboard someone whenever there's a simplification of processes. For us, it's a challenge. The ride along is very specific, because it's like, hey, look, we're not a normal air conditioning company. We're not, this isn't how normal plumbing companies kind of go through here with an iPad or your phone. And you're like, we expect you to take photos of all of this stuff. And I get that. I understand that. And so I if I could find a happy medium, I'd love that 100%. I need data, so that if I'm ever asked, I don't look like a fool or sound like a fool on the phone. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely.
How do you enforce consistency?
Debrief forms. So another form, our debrief form that the technicians fill out, they complete it at the end of every service call. So it's 2/3 of it the technician completes, and integrity first is one of our core values. And so it's one of those things where they have to sign it, saying at the bottom of it, stating that everything they put, all the data they inputted, was accurate and to the best of their abilities. And then at the bottom of the form, so basically this is our process. They complete their portion of the debrief form, which says, did you get the model and serial numbers? Did you add all of it to the program? Did you take photos and add them to the marketing channel of Teams? Because that's what we use for internal communication. And then do we need, what's the future? Like, is there a clear future? What do we need to do in the, with the client? Do we need ordering parts? Did you use truck stock? I mean, it goes through like pretty redundant. And then the dispatcher at the end of it says, basically, how many hours were billed for the job? How much time was on the job? Did they give a discount? Was it approved by Tersh? And then did they fill out all their shit right? Basically, you know what I mean? And so they fill out all their stuff, and then she sees it real quick, and then it helps speed up that part of the process. But that's the way that we create consistency there, because they know that they're going to be asked that question, and if it's not, it comes straight to me.
I mentioned to say this. So he was talking about the process in which you go through to, your checkpoints, your process of the call. So Sarah's sort of designed that you have to go through those steps. It will not allow you to get to the next call. You cannot end the call, right? So, and in the end, when you end your appointment, which is really kind of cool, it comes up with what you're talking about. It's a checkbox of, hey, did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do? But it's not, like you're saying, it's a whole long form.
Right.
So, but what I'm saying is they have to follow the process in order to get to their next call. It's pretty neat.
That is really cool.
Did I say that right, Billy? Do you like the way I said that? Or do you want to add
you
to
said
that?
it. Said it very well.
Okay.
This guy's been all over the software ever since he saw it about a month ago.
Yeah.
You may know more about it than me by now.
I most definitely do not.
So let me ask you this: what is in the pipeline? Like what's coming in the future? Because I know some really cool stuff's coming, and it was really cool because Chris and we just happened to. I mean, I bumped into Billy last night at the black tie event, and he introduced me to Chris, and I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, then we started nerding out on some stuff, and I want to know, like, what's the future of SERA? How fast are we thinking this is going to move along here?
One of the things that was said yesterday is we're 31% productive in the workforce, and in general, in
our industry.
Yeah, I think Matt and Judge said that yesterday. 31% efficiency.
100%.
And then what our thought process is, and what we've been using at Billy Go, our beta company, and the companies that are already on this on SERA, is what if you could charge for every minute of everyone's time every day all year long?
Well, that's perfect world. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's coming.
Okay.
We want to be able to charge for every minute and know that we're charging for every minute. Are we 100% efficient? Are we 80% efficient? And if we are 80% efficient, how do we become 100% efficient with the information we're given?
So it sounds like there's a percentage of almost coaching built into this as well.
There's a lot of coaching into it.
Okay.
It's a straight path. It's not a zigzag. Will this work? Will that work? I've already done all that. I've made all the mistakes for everybody. Okay.
But that's so much fun though. Like I hate pulling. I mean, I love pulling my hair out. That's why I'm bald. It's one of those things where it's like, there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding, are my numbers accurate? Are we being productive? The guys and gals are busy all day long, so we must be making money. But then my checking account, it's kind of hurting, So a lot of people are great technicians, but they're not great accountants, and so they don't know how to read P&Ls, or maybe they're not the best at it. So they don't know what their gross profit. I mean, they're going off of what their accountant says the 10th or hopefully the 15th of the next month, before they're like, oh yeah, last month you sucked.
Well, one of the requirements that we ask for if you go on SERA is that we look at your financials and we walk you through them with your CPA, and we rearrange items where they should be. For instance, credit card fees, stuff like that shouldn't be an overhead item. Those are cost items. You never receive that money, but yet you're building your cost on the fact that you did.
Right. And discounts.
Discounts. And one of the things when I first met Victor, he goes, well, look at my financials. I've got this great big business, and I'm really struggling on making the money that I want to make. Mm-hmm. And in about 3 minutes, I found about $2 million.
Yikes.
Right.
I mean, that's good too.
Right. And the thing is that I can go and look at anybody's financials because I know what I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. And I can dissect it in about 2 or 3 minutes and say, look, this is what you need to focus on. And let's focus on this. And then we'll go to the next thing. And I want you to do this every month. I want you to understand that you're no longer the daily KPIs that we are always seeing. Mm-hmm. Those don't tell you a story. They're just a snapshot. That's a picture. That's all it is. And your financials tell you how you and your business are, and you're a reflection of your business. So are you being successful or not?
True.
And that's what we do, is we help you get your financials in order. We built SERA in a way that everything that we do, whether how we price the task, how we do all that stuff, goes right to the P&L with the purpose. Mm-hmm. So if you want to have a 60, 65% gross margin, and you want to have 100% efficiency, what are you going to get?
Mhm.
You're going to get your 60, 65.
Right. Yeah.
And I tell everybody that, I was able to do 24.4% EBITDA.
I seen that. Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
And so everyone's financials has that EBITDA in them already.
Mhm.
It's already there. You just got to pull it out.
Right.
And that's what we do.
So is this going to integrate with QBO, or are you going to have an accounting program in
At
it?
some point, we'll have something to integrate with, a larger,
Okay,
better,
like QuickBooks.
right? Well,
So-
we have QuickBooks already.
Yeah.
We can do online. We can do all.
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah,
yeah.
desktop, online. Let me be
Yeah.
clear with that.
Apologize.
Okay. Yeah. So you're gonna do an in-house or like an in-program type accounting?
No,
software?
no,
Okay,
we're never
gotcha,
going to be
yeah.
an accounting
Okay,
process.
yeah, yeah.
No, we have no.
That
reason to
seems
do
like
that.
a big.
That's quick. That's QuickBooks job, right?
Yeah,
It's
they
not
do a
our
good job, and it's like $50 a month or
Right.
$100, whatever
Right.
it is. It's just too
Yeah.
cheap.
No,
Right.
I think the better way to say that is that QuickBooks Desktop, QuickBooks Online we have right now,
Mhm.
and others will be coming soon.
Ah,
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's-
absolutely.
So like Peachtree or whatever.
Peachtree, Zero,
Yeah, those ones.
there's a lot of those that we're looking at and
Mhm.
finding some good ways to have some lightweight integrations.
I
here and
love
there.
cloud stuff. I know QuickBooks Online has its limitations, and going from enterprise to QuickBooks Online, it's a challenge.
Mhm.
But I absolutely love the fact that I can literally pull up my entire business right here, and I can see it all there. And so running remotely, I have to run on QuickBooks Online.
And it's very
Yeah.
important that you have the right information going in there and not
Yeah,
having to
yeah.
change everything before you put it in.
Garbage
there,
in,
right?
garbage out.
Right. And it's,
So
we worked really hard on making sure that the dashboard is accurate and it's live. And so there's no delay. If you close $1,000 job, it immediately updates. So we built it to be a
That's the thing we
source
say
of
it's
truth.
live. A lot of people will talk about real-time data,
yeah.
but they mean real-time like after the batch. Yeah.
Oh, right. And
So-
is it a two-way batch, or is it a single batch, or is there like constant communication?
It's
So, like-
synchronous. So it is constant. I will say
Okay,
this:
okay.
everything that we're doing, we have the product philosophy of it's got to be timely, relevant, and actionable.
Wait a minute. So like at the end of the 2-week payroll period, when we decide to finally batch it, that's whenever our accurate data is there. So that's not going to be the case there.
No, that's not the case.
That's it. Look, some people can take that approach and maybe they'll find success with it, but Billy's been really clear for us that people need actionable data that they can look at. That if it changes within the minute,
Mhm.
that's fine. Everything that he was talking about earlier about being able to track to the minute how people are working. In order to get to that actionable data, you have to have that. So everything that we're doing right now from the product development is in how do we track what each resource on the job is doing, and then you can compare that to what's the target time as your main unit. And
Okay.
that's-
Yeah. And we talked about this a little bit last night. You and I did. The national average, which most price books are built off of some sort of national average, and then you have to go in and deal with it. You're going to have a price book internal, correct? So we
already have.
Oh,
price
you already
books.
have a price book. Oh, there's okay. And how difficult and how exhaustive is the process of setting up the price book?
Well, we've introduced a product just this past week
Mhm.
on Wednesday, I believe. And
Drum roll.
if you, yeah. And so one of the things we introduced this week was you can change parts out. If you change vendors, all you need is the SKU number and the price to change it. And you can download it into our price book.
Mhm.
It's about a 90-second process once you do that. And now there's a way to, if you have a 1/2 90 elbow or something like that,
Right.
in 70 different tasks, you don't have to go to each task and put it in there.
Mm.
SERA will put it in those 70 tasks with just a push of a button.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah. And
How about the actual images? Do they show up anywhere? Like, do you have an image of a product that would show up on an estimate or anything like that? Is that something we're going to have to do or anything like that?
No, we have a philosophy that if we're going to sell something to someone, let's show them the really bad one.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
So like the broken
Why would we
parts,
show them the new one?
shiny new stuff.
Well, I don't want to show them that. Who cares about an
Mhm.
air conditioner and what it looks like, right? When it's
Not
new.
to mention it's going to change, or here's the thing the challenge that I have, and it doesn't happen a lot, but whenever I show an XV20 system and it's got the top on it, the leaf guard, and then all of a sudden they get an XV18 and they're like, well, where's my top at? Like that picture had a top on it. I'm like, damn it. Like it was a stock image that somebody was just standing next to. And so it's like, that becomes a challenge for sure.
I'm not really sure how impactful it is. So I spent 10 years in houses, highly successful, worked for $70 million HVAC company. Right. And, over the course of, I could tell you right now, I mean, show and tell is cool. Real pictures and on real jobs can be impactful. The wrong way to do it can be impactful. But the simplicity of SERA and the way that it works is it doesn't need the shiny bells and whistles for it to be highly, highly effective. And there's something really, I think, just effective about being simple about your approach in something, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you said earlier. It's the simplicity approach. It's obviously that's the ways you're taking this.
Yeah. So what I've visited with, hundreds of companies back when we were buying companies back in the early days, and shopping around.
So for anybody that's listening, they may not know that you've actually been in the industry and done this a time or two.
Oh, absolutely. I started in '96 in the industry. Didn't really know anything about it. I think at the end of the day, that was the best thing, because I had to create my own way. And by doing that, I come up with a lot of ideas on how I wanted to run a business. And I've been around the block quite a while. So I'm not the young guy anymore. That's for sure.
That's cool deal. So it sounds like they're wrapping up the thing. So it's going to get real loud in here. So with that being said, closing comments. What's the next thing we should be looking for to be released?
The next thing we're going to release is a big whole batch of reports that are easy to read, easy to see. And right there, you don't need to build spreadsheets. All the numbers are accurate. We understand the difference between a job that you're going to make money on and a warranty.
So with the gross profit and knowing your gross profit numbers and communicating real time with QuickBooks and everything, how I guess my question is, like, how do we have the checks and balances that we're actually getting accurate data in? Because we know that you can have inaccurate invoices and PO systems and like not putting POs in properly. And so then you know what I'm saying?
Right. That's more of an accounting question, maybe.
Yeah. What you think?
Well, like any system, I mean, depending on if you've got good accounting practices, if you've got good discipline for that, it's like any computer, garbage in, garbage out.
True.
But in terms of the reports that are coming out, one of the things that we're held to a high standard of by that guy is that it's got to be kind of within this tight circle of it's must have. I live in the world of product development, right? So we have, this is must haves, this is nice to haves, this is really cool as heck. Stuff. We're not allowed to go to that last one. No, we have to live in the world of must haves.
Okay.
The nice to haves are stuff that we talk about and that can plan for, but if it's not like laser focused, Billy is always saying, focused features. That's it. Focus, make it simple.
Simplicity is what I'm hearing.
It is. Yeah. We are always trying to figure, it's like, how do we reduce? How do we cut down the number of steps? And that's why our onboarding is fast. That's why the ramp up time to become knowledgeable and comfortable using this thing is days, not weeks.
Or months.
I mean, or months or longer. So it really is. And so that's what's kind of cool about the team is that our culture is that we're constantly all reinforcing ourselves about that. How do we simplify it? How do we discard the unnecessary and just get it down to the point that this is useful? This is useful now.
Yeah. I love it.
Billy pointed out earlier, and he said something. He was like talking about this box, right? Like keeping right. So the focus, whenever he talks about the software, it's not so much about the bells and whistles. It's usually about like, how do we help these companies become more profitable? And that's
what we want. I mean, we didn't
do
this. We didn't get into the business to give away money. Well, most of us didn't. I mean, it's not a philanthropical adventure. We were here to make money, So
charity work.
Last I heard, we're not supposed to be doing it that way anyway. So, I mean, there are lots of us that might get some negative net profits at the end of the year, but no, I'm just kidding. But our whole target here is to get some money and make money. I mean, we're taking massive risk, and so we should be rewarded for it. Sure.
That's right. And the philosophy now is if I need more money, I just keep raising my prices, and then your sales, then your close rate goes down. Right. And if you have all your numbers right internally in the middle of the business, on that P&L, You don't have to be the highest guy in town to make that margin that you want because you cleaned up the mess
That's
in your
cool.
business.
That's a good way to think about
Right.
that too.
And so Billy goes to market against everyone in town, and we're consistently $2,000 to $3,000 cheaper on a new system, but we make a 26.1 EBITDA off of our everything that we do.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why is because we have very low costs. We understand, what it takes to go to market. We have our customers pay for all of our marketing. We don't pay for marketing.
Yeah, we really didn't even touch on marketing.
Yeah.
But that's a whole other leg of the program too.
Right. I mean, memberships, well, no matter what you've heard about memberships, they're not a profit center. They're a business building product.
Okay.
Right.
What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is back in 2003, I just come out of 9/11. We just come out of 9/11, and we had a big uptick in business because everybody was staying home. Sound kind of familiar?
Right. Yeah.
Right? And of course, it didn't last as long as this one. And then it lasted about a year. And as soon as everybody got comfortable and we started going back to normal life, business dropped about 50%. Because everybody fixed they fixed what they wanted to fix. They were home, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if we didn't make money, then we were in trouble. And a lot of businesses lost businesses in that 2003, 2004. And then right behind that, we had the house crash.
All right. Yeah. 08, 7.
And during that entire time, we were growing by double digits.
That's crazy, man.
The whole time, never slowed down. We did take a pretty big dip, right afterwards. And then that's when I created memberships. And that's how I saved the company. Really. I literally saved the company because, every company goes through that day where you're like, oh my gosh, are we going to make this or not? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And, I just thought, what do I need to do? I need some loyalty here. We didn't have Google. We didn't have any of that stuff, and I need to create some loyalty. And I went to my team and I said, we're going to do a $99 membership. It's not going to be a contract. It's not going to be a service agreement. It's a membership.
Mm-hmm.
And in that membership, they're going to get 15% off of the price. However, that 15% off price is the margin we need to make. So we presented in a non-member and a member price.
Mm-hmm.
And the member price is the price that we need to make a profit. Right. And so we started giving these $99 memberships away, and paying for those. And we sold 6,000 of those things in the first year and saved the business.
Wow. That's crazy. Now, did you already have 6,000 clients? I mean,
yeah, we had a fairly sized business, but when we started offering these memberships, they go, can my mom and dad get one of these?
Oh, that's cool. So it was beginning. I entered the industry in 05, and we were rocking and rolling with memberships at that time ish. We were definitely pushing it hard at that time. But sounds like you were pretty on the forefront of memberships in general.
We wanted to gather memberships because members had air conditioners, and we needed to see those air conditioners. Unfortunately, in Dallas, Texas, there's about 2.2, 2.5 air conditioners in every home. So if we had 6,000 memberships,
that's good
in the first year.
So that $99 was no matter how many AC units?
No matter how many AC units.
I love that concept. Yeah, the same thing.
Because it got us in the door twice a year, fall tune-up and the spring tune-up.
And if you do a tune-up properly, you're going to find stuff wrong with it.
The other thing, it created a 12-month-a-year business. I didn't have to earn all my money and then spend it in the off season.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
And so because we had so much work to do every winter, we could hire the best guys that everybody else
keep them
did.
busy.
Yeah, they couldn't keep them busy. So we kept growing because we hired when no one else was hiring.
Okay, so let me ask you this about memberships. And this is completely off topic from SERA and everything else. But monthly membership fees or yearly?
We disagree on this, by the way. we disagree on this.
I'm going to tell
you. You want to make your argument first? I'll make my argument.
I'm going to make my argument first. So once a year. And I'll tell you why, because you give a customer 12 times the opportunity to cancel.
or lose or change credit cards or fraud.
Whatever it is. Yeah. It's once a year, and you do it on the point of sale. And every time you go to that customer, you show them the member savings. You've already got them, right?
Yeah.
And you continue to show them that member savings.
So what about the challenge of, just saying, not right now, versus like having that $99 or $199 or $12 or $14 a month?
So I'm with you on this. So, and this is something that came from, in the world of the SGIs and the Nextstars of the world, right? Which is, we're so pre-programmed with Netflix and, these different
gym memberships
nowadays with these membership programs that You're okay. So the average is not going to be $99. Most people are going to charge $189, $159 a year for a membership, right? A lot of times they're going to charge extra for the extra system in the house. So now it might be, you run calls where you have 3-4 systems in the house, and now it's like, oh, well, it's a $400 or $500 nut. When you come out there, it's a lot easier to be like, sir, it's $999 a month, or it's $1299 a month, and they're so less likely to cancel. And what you do, and this was a trick, not a trick, but so credit cards change, right? But try to get it on ACH, right? On a checking account, as opposed to getting it on the credit card so that it's less likely. And then they really have to call, or call into the cancel or whatever it is. I'm saying it's a good business practice. I think it also saves on the fees.
Yeah.
So you saw a big uptick in some companies. One company that I was with, you saw a big uptick in just the retention rate of people, because when you went in there and you tried to get them on that annual and it was $200, they'd be like, no, not right now. I'm not going to do it this year. And that's the only trade-off. There's no wrong answer for it. It's just, philosophy difference.
So if you're trying to build a business, you need to own your backyard. And the best way to own your backyard is membership, right?
Yeah.
And if you have 6,000 memberships paying you $99 a year, that's not 60 grand, that's 600 grand. Right.
Right.
So that's $600,000 at a 2.5.
And that is before you've gone out there and done any maintenance.
That is correct. And, we were suffering with about $3 million business, and all of a sudden we created $600,000 worth of revenue and did nothing for it. And we took that money, and if you do the 12-year rule, right? So let's just say there's 12,000 air conditioners in this case in that first year, 8% is every 12 years. And so that's 960 air conditioners that are going to fail.
But so here's a challenge. Okay. What happens if your business, like your technicians, and now I'm going to say this is not because this is how our business is, but I know that there's people out there, they go there and it's $0 tickets every single time. It's like you're going there. You don't flip leads. You don't find a capacitor bad. Like you don't need a secondary float switch. There's nothing.
They're not having the conversation. Yeah.
No conversation. Yeah. They're getting in the attic and they're banging. They're sitting on the air handler and banging on it and then getting out. Yeah. So what? I guess that my biggest thing is like because you're doing $99 and we know it would cost more than $99 for the technician to roll up in there with overheads and everything. You have to make sure you're managing it all the way, the entire process. You can't just get your $600K and then say, all right, we're about to get rich here. Like you have to make sure you're managing every single service call and
oh, absolutely. You just can't not show up at all. Right? Even though you showed up.
Right. Exactly. And that's basically what you did. And there's a lot of technicians who have the mindset of, well, they just paid this money. They're not going to want to pay more money. Well, I'll tell you from my personal experience, I have a Dodge Ram, Cummins diesel, and it's got this lift kit and deleted everything else. I mean, it's got all kinds of stuff done to it. Power steering pump on it has been whining for 6 months. Now, it would take it to get the oil changed in it monthly, every other month because of how much we were driving. Not one time did they ever say anything about the powered steering pump. And I don't think about it. Julie's actually who takes it for me. And then I get back and I crank up the truck and I go to drive out the driveway and I'm like, daggum it. Like, why did they not? I don't care if it was $1,000. Just get the thing fixed. Because I don't want it to fail when I'm 3 states away driving for a conference like this. So a lot of technicians need to understand that because they have a fix-it mentality that they can fix it, but the customer doesn't want it. You're there to take care of it.
That takes continuous training. I mean, it is a constant. You're constantly having to drill in. It's funny. We got Blake over here is taking pictures. He was one of the service technicians at a company that I work for, and this was a continuous thing where it's like you have to just change the mindset of the technician. The technician mentality, and be like, guys, it is not wrong to make suggestions in the house and communicate things. Okay, so at the end of the day, you're serving.
Yeah.
And if you're serving that customer, you're serving them, the ability to understand what's new and inventive and maybe some preventative things they can do in the industry, and to their house and for their comfort. Right. And you would never do anything that you wouldn't do, in your mom's home or your grandma's home. But that mentality has to change. And I think that guys like you're probably constantly drilling that in. And it's that habitual discipline to understand and break the mindset. Once the mindset changes, then you can move on and say, hey, okay, it clicks. And you see
Mhm.
a tech and he's like, I made the suggestion, I made the recommendation, and they went for it and they're so happy.
And I'm
I got a 5-star
surprised. I don't
review.
understand this. Yeah. No, I agree 100% there.
Isn't it great that with you have technology now that can help them through that process? Because when they
Mhm.
go out for that maintenance call, guess what? All the things Billy's talked about managing the membership program, we've baked into the product.
Mm.
All those things about being able to ask the right questions at the right time, we baked into that tech app. That's why techs love the app that we've got out there, because it makes their job easier. Their close rates are higher. They follow the prompts.
Mm.
They follow the prompts, and then they see the success. They can do it in their own style, but they follow the prompts. They see the success because the prompts give you consistency.
Yeah.
Consistency gives you results that you can replicate.
How about this? Does it work for light commercial also? Because there's certain things, even in my forms, where it's like presenting 6 options on a commercial job just doesn't make sense all the time. And so, can it work in commercial also?
We don't even mess with commercial. I mean, but I would suggest that you go with a service agreement when you're doing commercial.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
This is a different animal, right?
Whole different animal.
Totally different animal. We'll do like commercial for a customer that we have.
Mhm.
You know, that's what we focus on the residential 100%. And I highly recommend we all do, because we start messing around with like commercial,
AR.
or we're messing around with AR.
Yes.
That's right. Exactly where I was going. And, I preached to all these guys, we can't have $1 of AR, not even $1.
Yes.
This is not going to happen. And, even if a commercial account wants to do business with us, somebody's
get a credit card.
Somebody's going to give us a credit card.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And we're going to keep it on file. I mean, legally, the banks
Right.
keep it on file.
Right,
We'll keep the last 4 digits. But,
Mhm.
and so that's the thing is, how do we get out of AR? When I first got in this business, I paid for a new construction company. It didn't do service. I bought a new construction company.
Yeah, that's tough there.
Right. And that's what I bought. And it wasn't a service company. There was one service van. And there was an English fellow that,
was there advantage to doing that because you had a large client base and then all of a sudden you can serve them? Or
I just wanted to buy it. I didn't know due diligence. I didn't know anything.
Hey,
back
sometimes you just got some cash burning in a hole in your pocket.
No, hang on. I had zero cash.
Oh, well, that sucks.
I had zero cash, but I hated working for the man, and I had to get this. My wife made me get a real job, right?
Yeah.
I was doing good back in the 90s. I was making about 40. She was making about 40,
Yeah.
And we were living the dream. And this company just kind of fell into our lap. And I went to her father and I said, hey, could you loan me $10,000 so I could get this deal? And he goes, sure, I'll do it. And I found out later that he gave all of his daughters 10 grand.
Oh,
He didn't really do
He
me
didn't
a
mention
favor.
that.
Yeah, he didn't mention that till later.
Yeah.
And he goes, you're the only one that's ever paid me back. So,
oh, that's good. Yeah, that's funny. That's hilarious.
but, so we didn't even know what due diligence was. It was it was a $1.2 million new construction company, and the owner had passed away, and the wife was just having a hard time.
Mhm.
And she wanted $800,000 for it the first time I talked to her, and I said, "Well, I don't even know how many zeros that is."
Yeah.
And about 2 weeks later, she calls me back. She goes, "What could you afford to pay?" And I said, $200,000.
Yeah.
Right. And we ended up buying it for $225,000. And I go to the bank and I got the $10,000 in the new account. I think we had about $1,000 in our checking account. And I go to the bank and I sit in the office there with the banker, and he goes, "Where's your father-in-law?"
You gonna co-sign it?
Yeah. I'm like, well, I don't know. He's probably at work. And
So I got another question for you there, Pops.
yeah, so I had to go out to the truck, make a phone call.
Yeah.
And it was a scary phone call. And
Yeah.
I said, "Can I come to your office?" I didn't do it over the phone.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's cool.
And went to his office and explained it to him. And he said, "All right, I'll do it." And he did it. And we paid him his $10,000 back in 3 weeks with $500 interest. And,
Oh, wow.
And we bought his meal for the first time at a real fancy restaurant. It just opened up in Grapevine. It's called Outback Steakhouse. So
Oh, yeah. That's fancy now.
it was back then.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
And anyway, long story short, we paid off that loan in 1 year. And
How did you do that with new construction?
Well, I was working for a home builder, and I knew that the surge of home building was coming because we started selling houses. So I just started raising the prices because they couldn't find plumbers.
Oh, yeah.
I found a company because I couldn't find a plumber to do our work. That's how it all happened.
Mhm.
So I already knew. And my wife, the one thing, I asked my wife, I want to buy this company and I really want to do it. I'm going to quit my job. And you know, she was very supportive, and she goes, yeah, I don't mind if you do that. And I go, but there's a catch. And she goes, what? I go, you got to quit your job too.
Oh, so she could help you?
Yeah.
Oh,
She could
yeah.
help me. She's smarter than I was. So I needed her.
That's hilarious.
And,
That's funny.
And so we quit both of our jobs and walked
That's
in.
not scary at all.
No, that's not scary at all.
Oh, no.
What made it even worse is we walk in there and we start talking about, you know, how we're going to, you know, become a really good plumbing company and do all this stuff. And as I'm saying this, about half the company walked out.
Oh, no. Yeah.
No kidding.
Oh,
the
man.
guy that ran the commercial division called all his, you know, all of his trade, or the guys that he
And took all the clients?
took all the clients.
Oh, man.
And you know what? I never batted an eye. I said, okay, well, that's less for me to deal with.
Yeah, that's one way to look at
That's
it.
just basically what went through my mind. Okay. all
That's
right.
not the first thought that came to my mind. I was
Right.
thinking shotguns and stuff. But
Yeah. Well, and then we got even more bad news. Every single person there had a rap sheet.
Oh, wow.
The people that left.
Yeah, so going in their houses and stuff.
Well,
it's new
they did
construction. Yeah, yeah.
So
Okay.
it was like,
Yeah.
it was pretty rough. And
Yeah.
I figured that out the
So
first day.
You can't change to a
We-
service company.
Right.
if-
We weren't even thinking service company
Oh,
yet.
yeah,
We
yeah.
didn't know yet. You know, we just didn't know. And what made me think of it is we had this one guy in one truck, and he would run service calls, and he brought money back every day.
This guy's making us money.
Right.
So let's do what he's doing.
And I had to hire someone to get my money from the builders.
So
right?
let me dive into this a little bit, because I have a really good friend of mine, John, and we had this conversation constantly about service departments making money for the company versus install departments. So we are very service driven, but we have a challenge with flipping leads and getting the system sold. But our service department covers the overhead of the entire company with no problem at all. And then his company is the exact opposite. Their service department is going to cost them, $1 million or something, or $100,000, whatever. But they're flipping leads and they're making gangbusters on the system replacements. Which way is better for you? Like, do you cover the overhead with the service department because you got the quick cash there, but then at the same time you have system replacements, which I was going to ask this earlier, and we're running really late, but it's so interesting information. Financing, is there financing built into or there integration or some sort of in there?
Yeah, so we just got a deal that we're working on, and we're going to finalize it here next week. That'll integrate with our system.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got financing there. So
that
did you get the
company may or
instant?
may not be here today.
Okay. All right. Cool.
So-
I might have them on the show in a little bit, but we get the cash quick from a system replacement. So obviously is your margins going to be the same across the board because you've inputted it? Or okay.
No, the margins are higher on the repair.
On the repair is going to be higher.
Yes, absolutely.
That's exactly how ours is set up in our business.
Oh, absolutely.
But theoretically, I feel like there's a challenge there with not replacing systems.
Challenge.
I mean, you see a big ticket item. So
Right.
here's what I see.
So
Like
if I have
see
a
a
higher
XV
margin on a repair, think about it like this: if I have a higher margin on a repair, I'm not that far from a new system, right?
Yeah.
If I add add-ons,
Oh, that
to
makes
stuff,
sense. Yeah.
right? If I put add-ons in there, I can get the price of a repair to a point where it only makes sense to buy a new system,
Yeah.
right? And
Mhm.
that's how you do it. You get the higher margin on the repair, and if you just get the repair, the margin's
margin's
margin's there.
Yeah.
It's a win-win. But the thing is one of the things when I got in the AC business, I couldn't believe how many people changed out the compressors.
Honestly, yeah.
Right. I didn't
like
know
a
anything.
$3,000 compressor change out
I didn't,
whatever.
I didn't understand, all that work that went into that because I knew nothing about air conditioning at that time when we put it together. So I had a meeting with my folks and said, we're not going to change another compressor. You're going to sell a condenser because we're going to raise the price of the compressor to the point where it only makes sense to buy a condenser.
Well, I did that with R22 and it kind of backfired on me. Like, it's me $1,000 a pound for R. No, it wouldn't do it that crazy, but
Yeah. I mean, we went through a couple of those things. I remember when we, Obama was elected president and he raised the minimum standard. I think it was to 12 SEER.
Mhm.
And we had a bunch of 10 SEER stuff out there. And everybody was like, man, it's going to cost more. We're not going to be able to sell them and making all those. And I just look at it in a different way. I just went and bought 3 18-wheelers of 10 SEERs before they stopped making them.
Well, that's one way to do it.
Right. And
Yeah.
then I bought the Freon. I bought pallets
Pallets
of
of
it,
it,
right? Because I had the money to do it because I knew my margins already, and I started
Goes
having
back to the
money,
numbers.
right? And so we rented a warehouse just to fill up all of these condensers and all this Freon that we had saved, you know, and bought.
That's cool. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we were super competitive, right?
Yeah.
And we started getting calls from apartments about 2 years after the
Buying
bank.
R22
That's
and
all they had.
condensers.
Yeah, right. They had to buy it from us. So
That's wild.
we ended up kind of being the supplier in a way.
Yeah.
Probably 40% of it we sold to someone else, and then the rest of it we installed, because you could still install it. You just couldn't manufacture it anymore.
How much of it walked away?
And
Shrinkage.
and on the 10-seer stuff?
Just your stockpile of stuff in the warehouse.
None. I had a guy my brother lived in that warehouse.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not kidding.
That's the challenge. I've seen that personally, where you're like, all right, we're going to buy a pallet of 410A whenever it was shooting up through the roof. And then all of a sudden it's like, man, we didn't use a pallet of refrigerant last year, the whole year. And now, like, the pallet's gone. You're like, and it's like, I wonder where all that stuff went, you know? But yeah. Anyways, we could talk for hours here. And honestly, I thank you so much, all of you, Chris, Everett, and Billy, for
Thanks
coming
for
on the
having
show.
us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And if there's anybody has any questions at any, about, actually, you know what? Josh Crouch.
Hey, Josh.
He's here on the
What's up,
Facebook.
Josh?
And he did ask this a long time ago, and I meant to ask, but I got distracted. And but it's can you customize the inputs if your market has systems that run their lifespans quicker, or your business model wants to send sales techs to a 10-year-old system or 20-year-old systems, if that's normal in your market, or is it one size fits all?
No, you can customize it to send anybody you want to a call. Yeah,
Okay.
Okay,
cool. So, Josh, that was a really long question, and the answer is no. You're good. You can customize it.
You can customize it however you want.
Cool. Thanks. Now, if anybody wants to learn more, I have it accruing across the bottom of the screen, but it's SERA.tech, and it's SERA.tech is where we go, right?
That's right. But let's do this here, Billy. Since they're listening here, we do this podcast here at the show. Let's drop our show special QR code.
Go ahead.
The comments.
Okay.
And if they scan that, then they come to a page that's just for the attendees here, where Billy's about to make the probably the best offer we're ever going to have.
Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up. Super
Plus
secret.
And they want to learn a little bit more about it too. We've got some upcoming webinars on the 12th and the 19th of November. That one QR code, they can see that. They can sign up if they're ready to go. They can sign up for one of those webinars. Because right now I can tell you, Billy never. I mean, their calendars are getting full.
Yeah.
I mean, it's stunning. So if I can get people who want to come to that, that they'll learn everything they want to know about it there. And again, they'll also have an option, since they're coming to us from you here at Service Hero Academy. Coming to us from you, they'll have a chance to get on the deal.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, so I'll drop that code to you. You can put that in the comments. They can follow on that.
And I was going to say, if anybody wants like special attention, has questions, wants to get walked through, wants a demo, they can hit me up on wherever, Facebook, email, phone, text, smoke signal, however they want to do it.
Cool deal. Man, you got something else to add?
No, I think we're good. We could go on and on, so we better stop here.
Yeah. I appreciate everybody that's listening to or watching this episode of Service Business Mastery. I am naturally inquisitive. You can tell by just the questions that I ask. But this product is it's definitely a disruption in the industry, and I think that I know that you better get on it right now, because this offer that they're getting ready to give out and present, it's not going to be sticking around. But with that being said, if you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to reach out to any of us here, and I will put all of our information in the show notes. But thank you again for watching this episode of Service Business Mastery Podcast. It's a podcast focused on service business owners, managers, and technicians who are considering becoming business owners themselves. Our target here is to help answer some unasked questions, and I hope that that's what we did in today's show. But until we talk again next time, have a wonderful and safe day. See ya.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Service Business Mastery. Now that you are equipped with essential business advice from this impactful conversation, you are one step closer to becoming the successful owner of your dreams. If this episode has been helpful to your business journey, Don't forget to subscribe to the show, leave a rating, and share it with other owners as well. Visit servicebusinessmastery.com to learn more.